Welcome to Raise High here at UW. We got Coach Caputo here, off to a great start. Tell us about your team. You have to indoctrinate all these transfers. I'm starting right away. Sean Hansen, Trey Moss have really been giving you good minutes. Drumgool from Delaware. What's it like having three guys that have played that many college games, yet you're coaching them for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, I'm Rafael Castro, too, has been terrific.
Yes, from Providence, yes.
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, we wanted to get a little bit older, and those guys obviously are older. They're experienced. They've learned a lot. They've played for good coaches, what have you. And so, you know, and my guys have learned a lot because they got a lot of experience as freshmen. But to bring in some guys who have a little bit more mileage, right, who've been in college basketball 3, 4, 5, even 6 years now in the new world, has been really good. And those guys are high character, and they've been great for our younger guys and great for the coaches as well.
It's funny because the first time I met him was at your, you have a pro camp here in the summer that's very popular. We'll talk about that in another
Fantasy
show.
camp, yeah.
It's outstanding. It's run like an NBA fantasy camp. Well, you meet the coaches and the players too. And I ran into Trey Moss and didn't know who he was. Really high character guy.
Yeah.
Drumgool, high character guy. Sean Hansen, I met him and his parents at dinner the other night from Cornell.
Yeah.
Castro's a little different though because he didn't play quite as much. He's kind of getting the Chris Caputo experience of offense, playing a lot. Tell us about that.
Yeah, a little bit.
I think he's been great.
Yeah, a little bit.
Good hands,
for
too.
him, I was familiar with him coming out of high school from New Jersey. Obviously played at Providence. They had some really good teams, really good front court players he was competing with every day. And, you know, talking to the coaches, talking to people in the Big East, you know, talking to Dan Hurley at UConn saying, hey, what do you think of Castro? And everybody, even in his limited amount of minutes, you know, thought, hey, man, this guy could be a really good player in the right situation, right opportunity, and he's shown that thus far. And you know, for us, he almost goes along the lines of some of those guys like the Ricky Lindos, the Brendan Adams, the James Bishops. You know, maybe didn't get quite as much opportunity in the Power Five and come here, and now you look at them and say they could play anywhere, and I think that's
and all three of those guys are doing well in Europe.
Yeah,
I just
really
well. Boy, Ricky Lindo's really doing well.
Doing
in Europe.
great.
One time we're gonna have a show about where they go because I believe that when young men come out of here, they have more of an international flavor with them already. They're already ready to go overseas and play because
live in the city and
it's such an international fan base here, and there's so many different type of students here. Which brings us to Miracle on 22nd Street, Friend JIT.
Yeah, it's great.
Monday.
Yeah, it's like the most fun time of the year, right? We did it my first year with South Carolina. Obviously, a great win. The place was packed, but the block party on 22nd Street is really special. Last year against Navy really helped us win an overtime game against Navy here. Another great environment out front. You know, it was funny. The game against South Carolina was on CBS, and John Rothstein's in studio and said, man, it looks like Times Square on New Year's Eve out there in Foggy Bottom. So really great opportunity for our community to get together. I think it starts at 4:30, games at 7. So plenty of time to party and have some fun on 22nd Street and then come on in and cheer on the Revolutionaries.
And George's Army has been very good. John Rothstein, I smiled because we talked about that. He said, how's George's Army? I'm like, full house tonight. And the student body, I can feel it walking around the campus.
Yeah.
I told you, I always get my happy place coming down to Foggy Bottom, whether it's a restaurant or in the deli or just coming through the gym. You can feel the students gaining momentum here. The A10 is gaining momentum.
Great league, yeah.
Saw Fordham beat the Big East team in Seton Hall, et cetera.
Yep.
We had 2 teams go last year and win games. Right now, and I know it's too early, but like right now they have 4 or 5 teams in the NCAA tournament based on the metrics.
Yeah.
And you've always said the metrics have to catch up
to
A10 because why? You're winning games.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I'm probably of the belief, because I've been in leagues that had multiple teams not only make the NCAA tournament but win games, you kind of know what that looks like. And our league is very much a league that, you know, you can take 5, 6, 7 teams from our league, plop them in the NCAA tournament, and they're going to win games. Last year, again, I've talked about it ad nauseum. Get 2 teams in, they both win games. Neither of those teams won our regular season, right? And so that speaks to the depth of our league, and I think it's only getting better. I think there's more continuity within our league. I think the way the rules of the settlement will play out will favor the schools in our league where we don't have football, and I think you're going to see a really strong A10 for a long time.
That means more NIL money, which that's part of the deal, and it's part of the equation now that goes into just men's and women's basketball. Lastly, I just have a feeling this team is deeper. You know, it's one thing practice. I'm watching in games. You're deeper. You're more athletic. You can go 90. You have more positions. I really like Sean Hansen as a backup to Castro, but yet you can play them together without going, you know, I don't even have a crystal ball, but, and not to, you know, this isn't about the other 2 years you've been here. I just have a feeling in year 3, tell us your thoughts after a couple of games that you've watched.
Yeah, well, obviously much better defensively. I think been in the top, whatever it is, 20 in the country in field goal defense after 2 games. It's not a big sample size, but it's clear that I think we have more positional defensive versatility, more ability to pressure the ball, things like that. You know, losing Garrett Johnson, yeah, you're going to lose some shooting there, but again, we have enough depth, I think, where guys are getting great opportunities here, and we're still a little bit on the younger side. I mean, think about it, we only have 3 guys and really 2 in the rotation that are going to run out of eligibility here. And so the idea of utilizing the portal as we did to get better while maintaining continuity, that's what we're going to do going forward. And I think, you know, trying to build a sustainably good program, that's the model.
That's why the future's bright. But right now, come down here and don't forget to come down to the tailgate at 4:30 for the NGIT game on Monday. Take care.
So yeah, outrage is trending. Our feed's stirring us up, splitting us up. What if we came out from behind our walls and keyboards just for a sec and just go yard, front yard? Come out bagging, jumping, check on that Johnsonville feed. Let our individual flavors blend together. Yes, block nobody, block party. Keep it juicy.
Welcome back to Raise Higher GW. We are lucky to have Associate Vice President and new Athletic Director Michael Lippitz here. Welcome back to DC, where you got married. You played tennis at Maryland. You're having a different journey we're going to talk about later in the show. Why GW and why come home to DC?
Thanks, Jimmy. Great to be here. Appreciate you having me on. The easy part is the YGW. The school is elite, both academically and athletically. You combine that with our location in the nation's capital, and it's the right formula for success. So competitively, I'm a competitive person, and I'm excited about what the future holds in terms of our potential. So, and I'm a builder in terms of programs. And we'll talk, I'm sure, a little bit about that in terms of my background. And it's great to be back in the DMV. And it's been a great, warm welcome from the fan base here.
I've always felt that GW is one of the greatest city schools. And there's all kinds of city schools. You were just in Chicago, okay? We know New York, NYU, Boston University, UCLA's in. GW is in the heart of the actual city, next to the monuments, next to the White House, next to Georgetown. In other words, it's smack in the middle. And it's a global place. Like, this is one of the more unique schools, in my opinion, because of its so many things it has. How did you view that, and how will that play into your plan for the future?
I think it's one of the reasons our students choose to come here. I mean, even up the road at College Park, it's one of the reasons I chose to come to Maryland is because of the access you get to the capital and all the internship opportunities and job opportunities after graduation. So it's a real calling card for us and a selling point from a recruiting standpoint. And you see it when I've spent a lot of time early visiting with our student athletes and getting to know them. And that's one of the primary reasons that they came to school here. So it's a tremendous selling feature for us.
I love the Smith Center. I think it's the perfect building. It's the right size. Obviously, it's right in the middle of campus. You have built buildings. You have redone buildings. You have built practice facilities. You have done a lot of things at all your stops. Without giving us your secret plan, as you walk around, there's obviously so many great things that are here, but you have to put your touch on them. Have you even thought about any of what you're going to go without? I'm not saying to reveal anything, but you see how great this can be. How does that process work in your mind when you walk around?
Yeah, I mean, Smith Center is a phenomenal building. On game days, it's great. The work that's been done here over a number of years to modernize it. I remember what it was a number of years back, and it looks the part, and it feels good on game day. So it's in a really good place. There's always room for improvement, right? We've got a number of new fan amenities this year that were put into place over the summer prior to my arrival, but that are already starting to pay dividends. We've got grab-and-go concessions, making that part a little bit easier and better for fans. New video boards, so everywhere you look, you can get a replay, you can get hustle stats, things like that when you're in your seat, and the audio has been significantly upgraded. So I think everybody appreciates those dynamics, but there's always opportunities to improve. But facilities are always a priority, right? it's one of those commitments that you make, and it's for the long term. So
And
excited
today's
to get
student
going.
athlete is changing a little bit. In other words, we would just do what our coaches told us or go where we were supposed to play. They expect more. Today's student athletes, they know what's out there in terms of whether it's housing, eating better, how they travel, but facilities are an important place. It's visually important, and so you see that. And you've been kind of you stayed a long time at Maryland, a long time at NC State, and a long time in Chicago. Do you see this as a place you can stay for a long time?
Oh, absolutely. For our, not just for me, but for our family, this is a destination for us. It's home. It's a destination, and we look forward to being here and being able to really contribute to GW over the long term. So, yeah, the facilities piece it's always important. It's that physical manifestation of your commitment, right, to a program. And I've been fortunate to do a lot of fun facilities projects over the years. It's one of those things that if you stay in this long enough, you generally have an opportunity to do. And it's fun to have that reveal, all the hard work that leads up to the reveal when the student athletes and the coaches walk in and cut the ribbon. But all those things are only possible through great donor support. And so as we move forward, we look forward to rolling out those plans to our donors, and we'll be asking for their participation to make those things a reality.
The good news is we have you for another segment. So stay tuned because we have more questions and more answers, and this is going to be a great opportunity for everybody to get to know the new athletic director, Michael Lippitz.
Gas prices got you fuming? No need to get heated. Save time and money with Metro. Ride, save, explore. Metro.
Welcome back to Raise High at GW. We have the Associate Vice President and Athletic Director, Michael Lippitz, with us for a second segment. We could do a 2-hour show. You should hear us off the air talking state of college athletics. We're going to get into that. But I want to talk a little bit about your background.
Yeah.
Division I tennis player,
Yep.
right? You got your law degree from Villanova, who's obviously a basketball power that has football too. You've had an interesting run. Tell us a little bit about your journey, because for those of you who don't know, he was with Debbie Yao, who helped build a new building at Maryland, went to NC State, et cetera. Tell us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah. It's 25 years. This is my 26th fall in college athletics. Hard to believe for me. It's been great. I've been really fortunate to work with a lot of really talented people. You mentioned Debbie, certainly my mentor, and had a lot of success working with her at Maryland and at NC State. It starts with people in terms of all the success that through the years that they've been able to achieve. Especially the head coaches, right? There are no more important people in our departments than our head coaches. It has the most to do with the student athlete experience and the quality of that experience, and everything from recruiting to being brand ambassadors for your athletics program and your university. It really starts with the coaches, and I've have been very fortunate to work with some talented coaches over the years, and it's fun even after you've moved on to another institution to watch their continued success. And so a lot of great basketball programs, been fortunate to be a part of, and that's one of the reasons I'm so excited to be here. Is I was at both as a tennis player and then an administrator at College Park at University of Maryland, watching these great teams across town.
You
at
won
GW.
both the men's and women's national title.
But in those years were some of GW's very best teams, and so we know what is possible in terms of playing deep into March, cutting down the nets, winning conference championships, and that's what's got me so excited.
I'm glad you talked about the history of GW, because when I was at Maryland's assistant, we used to have to play them in the BB&T, which I think they should go back and play downtown. It was great time to play. The Mike Jarvis, the Tom Penders, the Carl Hobbs, Mike Lonigan, et cetera. The postseason resume of GW basketball is
it's deep.
Very impressive. I don't want to talk about the women because Joe McEwen, all he did was win, and the MVP of the WNBA finals this year, Miss Jones
Yeah,
there.
JJ.
played here.
Yep.
Like, this is a basketball community,
Yeah.
and all the sports matter, but sometimes basketball can carry you. And I want to get into this because you were on the men's basketball committee. I'm sorry you're not anymore. That doesn't transfer when you switch jobs. Tell us about that. You're in the room, a selection committee, you're moving up on that. What's your theory on that?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of leading with basketball, right? I mean, the A10 is a basketball league, right? We know who we are as a league, and we're going to lean into that as GW. We're going to lead with basketball. I mean, part of this is, again, as an Olympic sport student athlete, right? We care about all of our teams. We're going to invest in all of our teams, but we're going to lead with basketball because success on the hard court translates in terms of success as an overall athletics department. And the other thing it does is there's a halo effect in terms of the entire institution, right? That kind of exposure in March, we've seen it all over the country, all those examples, right, of schools who hit it big in March and what it does for the entire fan base, for the entire alumni base and the institution. It amplifies all the great work, all the great people of the institution, and really helps take everything to the next level. That's the return on investment, right, in terms of when we talk about investing in basketball. And we've seen it here. Again, as we were just saying, we've seen it at GW before, we can do that again. And so that's our focus.
From the court sides, when you watch it to the Tabernacle Club, to the media attention you can get in this area, but it really is a good experience for the fans. And playing a good schedule and playing in the A10, et cetera. The A10 has some wins. Tell us your thoughts on multiple bids. And I ask this because you're on the committee and you've been in different leagues. Tell us your thoughts on the A10. Bernadette, the commissioner's down the street now. What's your thoughts on the league as much as GW's place?
It's two things. The A10 deserves to be a multi-bid league. And at the same time, today, it's as hard as it's ever been to be a multi-bid league, right? The power conferences are gobbling up more and more of those bids. I'm a proponent of expansion, but I know there's a lot of discussion about whether expansion is going to be the 10th place team in a power league versus what I would say is a more deserving, team out of one of the high mid majors like an A10. But I think it's important. March Madness is special. I mean, what makes it special is those upsets. That's what people remember and talk about from years past, right? It's not that blue blood matchup in the second round. It's that upset. Right, it's the David and Goliath aspect to March Madness, and so that's what we all want to see more of, and obviously that would benefit a league like the A10. And we talk about scheduling beyond the A10, and you mentioned the BB&T. Went to many of those over the years. It's important that we play our local rivals, right? I mean, this is unquestionably a pro sports town, but we've got a lot of great college programs here. And so, our guys are playing American this year, right? American will come back to us, right? It's terrific. Our women just played Howard. I mean, we want to play those local regional rivalries. So whether it's a trip up to College Park, whether it's playing our friends over at Georgetown, I mean, we want to play these games, right? I think it helps all of us, win or lose, any particular game. It helps all of us with the visibility and the momentum in the city and just the basketball culture of DC, which is really strong. But part of supporting that is playing each other.
In closing, Miracle on 22nd Street. The fans are coming out. George's Army has been great so far. Just if you want to address the fans or the student body, tell us your thoughts on that.
Yeah. First, I mean, our students are phenomenal. My first game, the doubleheader, the opener, we had well over 1,000 students, and you can feel the energy in the building when the student section is full. And so George's Army is great, but also our spirit squads, band and cheer, they're bringing the energy every game. Really appreciate what they do. And then, we've got the tailgate coming up. Miracle on 22nd Street, looking forward to that next week. And it's exciting, and we're going to continue to look for opportunities to get our students engaged. All right, we have 22,000 students, 90% of whom are right here on campus. We need them in the Smith Center game after game, and we can do that and really infuse this building with a lot of energy.
You've already brought a lot of energy and a lot of positive vibes. We're really happy you're here. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Raise high. This isn't just our battle cry. It's our call, our challenge. Because when you were called to Washington, you were called to higher expectations, to a higher standard. We are called here to advance knowledge, to serve society, to change the world. This is the George Washington University, and what we make is history. So stand up, be bold, take risks, press on, push harder, raise high.
Wrapping it up here on Raise High at GW, now joined by women's basketball head coach Caroline McCombs. And good news for your team first week, Rookie of the Week, Gabby Reynolds. What a start for her.
Yeah, she's been terrific, just getting started on the floor for us here. I think there's some leadership around her, that helps her. But again, her confidence on the floor with the ball, without the ball, it's just growing every day.
What about goes into it when you have a freshman like that who comes, we talked about in the last episode about how hyped she was. She was Miss Michigan basketball. there's got to be some nerves, but did you have a little bit of expectation that this is what she could do immediately?
I think so. I think that's why we brought her here. Is we thought she could really be an impact player, and she's doing that. I think as a coach, right, you're learning your players every day, and I think it's just been fun to work with her and see what that progress is only in these first few weeks.
What's that conversation like leading up to the first game? Somebody like her, or anybody really, first game, there's got to be some nerves, there's got to be some jitters. Was there any specific conversation of just play like yourself that first week?
I think she just got into the coaches' offices, watched a lot of film. I'm sure there were some of those nervous jitters. We didn't necessarily have that conversation. We just kind of threw her out there and let Gabby be Gabby.
And then on the other side, you have 3 grad students come in, and that's trying to replace the leadership that you had last year. But it was even their first couple games here to start. But what have you seen from the grad students so far in the first couple games?
Yeah, they've been terrific. When you talk about those nervous jitters, right? They all have them, right? It's just the first time being in a uniform. We've been home, we've been away, so you kind of have that feel for what it's like. But they do have a calming presence on the floor. Obviously, I think they're still learning, the system and the style and what all of those things are, and that'll continue. They'll continue to mature, right? Because as they are experienced players, it's their first time in a GW uniform, so it is going to take some time still.
And I mentioned the leadership group we had last year with Maiwa and Faith and Essence and Nia Locke. We saw them in the stands at the home opener, and you mentioned that they're going to be a big part of your team, still trying to build that culture and still be a part of the program moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been fun having them local here in the area. They're coming to support. That means a lot. Some of them have come and practiced with us. So yeah, obviously having people like that know what we're about is important to have around.
It helps when you have people that have been around 5 or 6 years and, I still want to keep practicing. That takes a special person to come out and continue to practice. Let's talk about your team this season on the court. Offensive efficiency so far has been pretty good through the first couple weeks. You brought in a new assistant coach to help with the offense, and you're seeing immediate dividends from that thus far.
I think so. Again, it's a work in progress, just all the movement, trying to, be unselfish as possible, hit the open person, I think is a very important concept. We're still trying to figure that out, right? And so I think it'll still grow, it'll still click. And so I'm just excited about that. But it is nice when the ball goes in the basket.
Absolutely. Nobody's ever going to stop that. How about defensively? It's always going to be the bedrock of the program. What have you seen?
Yeah, I think, again, with just having different personnel out on the floor, I think communication is the biggest thing in building that trust, right? And so we're still figuring out, some of those pieces. I think we have some versatile parts as well, so that's nice. I think there's some players we still want to kind of get in the mix, get in the flow. And so, that's, like I said, it's early stages here, early November, and I'm looking forward to it, seeing what these other teams do offensively, where we have to game plan for it.
Yeah, where you don't have to play yourself every time, so it's a little bit different. But is there any way to replicate the communication that you have in game on the defensive end of the floor? Is there any way to really practice that?
Yeah, I just think, we talk about ELC, early, loud, and continuous, right? And so as we practice in a quiet gym, right, with no fans, right, we always have to be louder than what the loudest gym is going to be. So, going over to Howard the other day, they had a great crowd. It was a great environment to play in, to practice that. We really needed that. And so I think moving forward, it allows you to kind of see that, coach it up a little bit more, having that experience.
Coming up here, top of the hour, another road test. You go to Ohio, came in here last year. You got to play them. It's a road test. And then we have another game on Monumental here. You get to come back home and play Towson next week, which will be right here on the airwaves. Take us through these next couple games, including a road test to go out and see Ohio.
Yeah, that's the first time that we've played out there, noon tip-off. I think they're really well coached. They do a good job. Again, it'll be a challenge for us defensively with how they play. And then obviously we want to put the ball in the basket. So, just trying to get there early to get on their home floor. And then Towson, right, we played them last year at their place. So they're coming back in town, obviously pretty local game. So hopefully we can get a lot of support and have that home court advantage for us.
Keep the local games local. And again, Wednesday night here on Monumental Sports Network, we will have GW Women's Basketball against Towson. You got tip-off in like 5 minutes. You probably want to go catch that over in Ohio. Good luck today.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, that'll do it for this episode of Raise High at GW. We'll catch you next time.
The Atlantic 10 by the numbers. 15 universities, 23 sports. A 91% graduation rate honoring the academic achievement of more than 4,500 student athletes. One conference united by diversity, powered by commitment. The A10 is building countless champions in athletics and preparing scholars for life. Great people, great places, extraordinary opportunities, too numerous to count. This is the A10.
Make your trip monumental. Sightsee through DC without overspending on gas and ride shares. Experience DC the local way. Ride, save, explore. Metro.